Hello, everybody. My name is Rafi Steinberg. Welcome back to STEM Talk. STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. This episode, we got two great guests, Bill and Carmen. Can you guys introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name is Carmen Young. I'm the president of the Livingston Robotics Club.
My name is Bill Lamb. I'm president of American Robotics Open Championship.
So I understand you guys are both part of the Livingston Robotics Club. What does that look like?
So the club was created back in 2014, and so far we have helped thousands of families in Livingston getting involved in competitive robotics. Every year in June, we have a first Lego League expo there, and where younger kids, age 6 through 9, they will present their robotic design and in front of a panel of judges.
So FLL, right? You mentioned ages 6 and higher. At ages 6, what are some beneficial things about kind of getting into robotics early?
So there are many programs available right now in the U.S. FLL is one program. There are also FACS. And these kids start learning about the engineering process and also practice how to present their idea in front of a panel of adults. So it's a good practice and good platform for them to start engaging some practical life skill.
That's amazing. Yeah. So as you mentioned, there's been a lot of turnout of families for FLL and Livingston Robotics Club. Would you say that this turnout, have you seen like people go into robotics later on? Have you seen them stick with it kind of?
Yeah.
So I've been coaching since 2010, and we've just seen a lot of people, even if they don't stay with STEM, they're going into like fields like film and studio, where they take those experiences of teamwork, working through difficulties, and just overcoming challenges. I think those are really valuable skills. And then there's a lot of people who still stay in STEM, comp-sci or medicine. So I've seen a lot of people get a lot out of the program.
And as you were mentioning before, they have the competitive aspect too, right? So Bill, you are the president of the American Robotics Open Championship. So what does that kind of look like compared to FLL?
So it's a adjunct or extension of FLL. So we run on the FLL structure. So first is the organization that runs FLL. They are supporting us as we run the competition. And what we did starting during time of COVID was we incorporated with the idea that there's only a very small percentage of teams that move on to a national championship. It's less than 1%. In New Jersey, there were 450 teams, and only 3 moved on to a national championship. So we felt like there were a lot of excellent teams that had an opportunity or should have an opportunity to compete. So we created that in 2020. Also, when COVID happened too, there were no competitions. So we thought we combined those two ideas, and we finally got it going in 2022 last year, and then 2023 this year.
So you guys have done like pretty amazing things. You guys are bringing robotics to so many households and kind of building a new advancing field. And as time goes on, STEM is going to increase and increase. And I think the fact that you guys are bringing it to a younger age group is amazing, especially Bill, that you guys are allowing more chances for people to continue going throughout the season and demonstrate what they've done to more people. And I think that is really cool. So how long have you guys done or been around robotics and STEM?
I have been coaching robotics for 8 years now, so yeah, quite a long time.
14 now?
So throughout those 14 years, what are some of the stuff you've done?
So besides coaching families in Livingston, actually we also reach out to other disadvantaged neighborhood as well. We, in Newark, Harrison District, they actually need a lot of help. So, Bill and I have been talking about trying to introduce and invite some of the educator in those districts to experience it. And AROC has been like the platform. AROC create a good platform to invite those teachers who work in those districts to come and experience it, and so then they can carry the experience and bring it to their students.
Yeah, so if I could just add to that, like that public school teacher recruitment that we had for AROC, we brought in, I think, about 6 teachers from the Newark public school system. And I think they were really psyched about the whole experience of judging, supporting the event. And I think that'll help with the FLL program in Newark.
It's really great that you guys are kind of helping spread STEM to not just kids, but also to other areas who might have not even known about the opportunities that robotics gives you, people. So through your guys' experience, have you seen STEM or robotics in general kind of progress and make changes?
Yeah, I have seen it. Like I remember the first year at the competition, there were not that many all-girls team. Now you see a lot more all-girls team, and also diversity. Yeah. Not just people who live in more affluent neighborhood. You see people from other neighborhood. They come, and it's very exciting actually.
Yeah. I think just to add that we had a coaches follow-up call after the event in Liberty Science Center. And one of the coaches commented something that I didn't even notice, which was they felt like half the teams there were all girls. So that participation rate was awesome. And it was interesting that I didn't even notice it. It just looked normal to me. I've been coaching my daughter's all-girls teams for 14 years now, so maybe I was just used to it. But
that's amazing. And
yeah.
I was at Liberty Science Center with you guys, and I saw a wide variety of age groups. I mean, there were people who looked like they were in the lower levels of elementary school all the way up to middle school, and there were all different people from all over. There were people from Texas, I believe, too, yes. And throughout kind of the East Coast. So I think it's amazing that it's also bringing people from all over kind of to not only compete together, but also meet each other and make connections in their field.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what we hope for, is to bring all like-minded students, parents, coaches, get together, know each other, sharing their experience, make friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now this is kind of for kind of the parents, less than the kids. For parents, how would they get their children into robotics, and how to get them enrolled in a program kind of like yours?
So,
Go ahead.
Livingston Robotics Club is a great place to start with that. AROC is not really ideal for that because we're working with established teams. But Livingston Robotics Club, for the last 2 years, has worked with 150 families each year to put them onto teams. So this year we're trying something a little different. We're going to try and work with the same number of families, form another 15 to 17 teams. But this year, what's especially different is that we're going to be supporting VEX IQ, which is about the same age range as First Lego League. So it'll be another more diverse option for parents. And where would they go to sign up?
And just go to our website,
Yeah.
livingstonrobotics.org, to sign up, and we will definitely help them. And we're looking into even introducing a mentor program, mentoring the coaches, right? So I think that will help a lot.
Yeah. So we took in 34 parents who didn't know they were going to be coaches last year, and we convinced them to be coaches and supported them in that coach endeavor. So we're going to take those people and pyramid scheme them into a new set of coaches.
So not only are you guys getting kids and different areas, but you're also bringing the parents into it. And I know my parents, they didn't have this type of STEM stuff when they were children, and I think it's great that you guys are helping getting everyone involved in and learning about STEM, and that's kind of what our goal in the show is to do. So I think that's really great that you guys are doing that. And for someone, so I was a volunteer for the Liberty Science Center. How would someone volunteer, and even if they're not on a robotics team, or they can't coach, or maybe they want to be a mentor for a coach that they've previously done robotics? How would they get into that?
They can contact Livingston Robotics
Yeah,
Club,
they contact us, and then we'll definitely help connect them. Yeah.
or
That's
they can
great.
also sign up on the FIRST website, like a firstinspires.org, or on the VEX website, it's called Robot Education Foundation. You can also sign up as a volunteer there.
All right, thank you guys so much. This has been a lot of insight. You guys are doing amazing work. Thank you so much. We're gonna head on to our next segment.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
What is FIRST? FIRST, standing for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology, is a robotics organization that prepares young people for the future through team-based robotics programs. FIRST is for ages 4 through 18 and is boosted by a global support system of volunteers, educators, and sponsors that include over 200 of the Fortune 500 companies. Teams learn to conduct research, fundraise, design, build, and showcase their achievements through annual challenges. 2.5 million plus students participate, and 100 plus countries and millions of volunteers are impacted each year. When was FIRST founded? FIRST was founded in 1989 by Dean Kamen, a prolific inventor, entrepreneur, and tireless advocate for science and technology. His passion and determination to help young people discover the excitement and rewards of science and technology are the backbone of FIRST. FIRST Robotics has 3 separate challenges that are subsections of FIRST. The youngest is FIRST LEGO League. FIRST LEGO League gives elementary and middle school students the opportunity to work and create together to solve a common problem. The cool thing about FIRST LEGO League is all skill levels are welcome and needed, technical or non-technical. Adult coaches guide students as they gain skills and confidence in supportive, inclusive environments. The FIRST LEGO League guides you through STEM learning and exploration at an early age. From discover to explore and then challenge, students will understand the basics of STEM and apply their skills in an exciting competition while gaining productive learning habits, confidence, and teamwork skills along the way. The second and middle-of-the-road subsection for FIRST is the FIRST Tech Challenge. In the FIRST Tech Challenge, students learn to think like engineers. Teams design, build, and code robots to compete in an alliance format against other teams. Robots are built from a reusable platform powered by Android technology and can be coded using a variety of levels of Java-based programming. Students and adults team members learn skills like coding, electronics, metalworking, graphic design, web creation, public speaking, videography, and more. Adult coaches guide students as they gain skills and confidence in a supportive, inclusive environment. The final and oldest competition under the FIRST organization is the FIRST Robotics Competition. Under the FIRST Robotics Competition, teams navigate under strict rules and limited time and resources. Teams of high school students are challenged to build industrial-sized robots to play a difficult field game in an alliance with other teams, while also fundraising to meet their goals, designing a team brand, and advancing respect and appreciation for STEM within their community. Not only does FIRST teach kids robotics values, but they also teach kids non-robotics values. Gracious professionalism is at the core of what FIRST is. Gracious professionalism is being kind, communicating, and an outgoing person, and really bringing STEM into your community. Welcome back. We've got another segment for you guys. This is Michael. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, so I'm Michael. I'm the captain of Fire this year, one of the 3 robotics teams at the high school, along with my 2 other guests who are also involved in robotics at the high school. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'm Amanda. I'm a graduating senior on Fire this year.
My name's Ahana Agarwal. I am a current freshman on Fire, and I'm going to be the head of Build next year.
All right, so why are we all here today? We're going to talk about our experiences getting involved in STEM, getting involved in robotics. And I know before we had the show, the first person that really got involved in STEM was Ahana over here. So you were just talking to Bill, right? And he's heading the FLL.
FLL and as well as Carmen and Ahana, you did FLL. Can you talk about that?
Yeah.
So I did FLL back in 5th grade.
Yep.
And I was part of a team who was based out of a temple that I used to go to. And I joined their team, and we ran for 1 season. And I learned a lot of stuff because we were a brand new team at the time. So I learned how the game worked, and it was just overall a fun experience because you got to try everything out. We got to build the missions, which is what the point of the game of FLL is. We got to build a robot, you got to code it, you got to mess around with your friends. So it was overall just a fun experience.
So you did that in 5th grade only,
Yes.
right? And then you come to the Heritage, COVID happens, obviously you're not doing anything, right?
I was part of another team for 1
Okay.
year in between. That was last year. I was actually on Bill's daughter's team
Right.
last year in Vex AI. So it's like an intermediate between FLL and FTC.
Right.
It's not first affiliated, but it is still like a robotics.
So,
Team.
when you were on your FLL team and even your VEX team, what kind of age groups did you see?
So in my FLL team, I was in 5th grade. The other girls in the team, they were also around 5th grade. I believe we had a couple older ones, probably 6th, 7th. We did have some younger like girls and guys, maybe down to like 4th grade, but it was a pretty big like range. And then the Vex AI, I was the only 8th grader there, and then everybody else was high school.
Right. So would you say that you being involved in FLL, did that really prepare you for being involved this year as a freshman in high school for high school robotics?
I think it definitely did help because I was able to get a grasp of like basic like principles and design ideas and things like that.
Okay. And then kind of switching roads here, we have Amanda on today. Now you've been involved in robotics for 4 years now at the high school?
Only 3.
Only 3 years. Oh, wow, even better. So totally different vibe, but what first got you involved in high school in STEM, right? Because you didn't do FLL. So your sophomore year, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
What first got you involved?
I've been doing a lot of engineering and a lot of tech classes for a long time, since like middle school, and I've been very involved in them. And my sophomore year, just all the signs were pointing to me doing it. My mom really wanted me to join robotics. My grandparents thought it would be cool. My engineering teacher really thought I would be a good addition to one of the teams that she was at the time the coach of. So I just decided to try out and get the feel of the team, and I went to a few meetings and I loved it. I started going for like 8-hour weeks of robotics, and it was great.
Yeah, so since you didn't have that prior FLL experience, would you say you were ready, or were you just blown away from everything that was happening since you've never really been involved in something like robotics before?
It was definitely very confusing at first.
Yeah.
But I do think it was very beginner friendly. I know at my first meeting, like I had never seen an Allen key before. I really didn't know what I was doing, but the captain of the team helped me and he gave me some individual guidance just to get me up to pace with everyone else, and eventually I was excelling above everyone else. I didn't think it was impossible to learn. You really just need to be willing to put in the time to learn it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Amanda, you were eventually a captain on Emerald Knights, right? And Michael, you're the current captain of Fire Robotics. So what do you think are some moments that kind of led up to you guys eventually being captain, and what are some highlights of your guys' year as a captain?
Yeah, so I think what Amanda was saying, right, I think the biggest thing for me probably was my relationships with teachers that are involved in STEM. Would you say that's a big thing for you also?
I think that was very important, yeah.
So I think my tech teachers I've had in the past, I think people that have really been leaders in the STEM community, like people like Bill, who was just on, and Carmen, who was on. I think people like that who are leaders and inspiring students to really get involved in STEM. I think that's a big reason why I even took the first step into STEM.
I agree. I think had my engineering teacher that year not encouraged me to join robotics, I'm not sure that I would have done it, but she really thought I'd be a good fit, and she turned out to be one of my role models.
Right.
I mean, like, I think having her as a teacher and a coach really was good for our relationship and good
Right.
for my learning.
Yeah. And then Rafi. So you're, right, we just heard 3 perspectives now.
Yeah.
But now you are a first-year freshman.
Yep.
Obviously, Ahana's also a freshman, but you are now at the start of having no clue anything
Yeah.
about robotics and now being introduced into robotics. How has that been like?
So originally, when I first even thought of robotics, my mom was like, "You gotta do some extracurricular in high school,"
yeah.
and I was like, "Robotics sounds like something I'd like." I've always been interested in technology. So on freshman orientation, we got a tour of the school. There was a section for clubs, and I saw Alex,
Right.
and he was like, "Rafi, you're my neighbor. I'm in robotics.
Right.
I think you'd love it."
Right.
So I came into the interest meeting. I was like, media, finance, building, that's the stuff, like, I like that stuff.
Yeah.
I think this could really be something good for me.
Right.
So I joined. The first few meetings, like Amanda said, I had no clue what I was doing. But especially it was difficult with someone like Ahana who has the previous experience. So I kind of had to learn through
Right.
trial and error
Yeah.
and just kind of nod my head and say, yeah. But eventually I've learned, and I just try to be involved in as much as I could, whether it was outreach things, helping out and build whenever I could, making finance emails,
Right.
and helping out with media, even to the point where I'm going to be the head of media next year. So I think that definitely for me, I feel like it's been a successful freshman year.
Yeah.
I've definitely learned a lot. I've definitely made a lot of friends and connections.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that I joined in the first place.
Yeah. And I'll say, I think after hearing Carmen and Bill speak, and also Hana's experience, personally, I think being involved in STEM early, I would have benefited from. Do you believe the same?
Yeah, so definitely it would have given me the previous knowledge and experience
Right.
so that I could jump in headfirst in high school and be more of a help in the first few weeks. But even for the people who didn't get to, didn't know about the FLL opportunities, which was kind of what I was talking about with Bill
Yeah.
and Carmen, like how to get into it. For the people who kind of missed that window, it's definitely possible to keep going
Yeah.
even if you don't have that previous experience. There's always places you can learn.
Right.
There's YouTube. There's mentors, teachers, friends. There's always somewhere where you can get into it if you're really interested.
Yeah. And even though I do think FLL is like so extremely helpful, it really gets your toes in the water before really jumping into it in high school. I do think, Amanda, your experience really does show that though it can be helpful, you don't need it, right?
I don't think you need
Yeah.
it. And I also think there are a lot of things you could do to gain experience without having to join a team. You
Right.
could sit in your basement, take apart a toy car, and put it back together. That'll teach you a lot of things
Yeah.
that I probably didn't know going in.
Right. Yeah. So it's that small experiences, the small moments.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, you don't need to join a whole team to do it, though it would be helpful. There are things you could do that are just small little things, right?
And it's not even that I was entirely inexperienced.
Right.
I'd taken 3 years of advanced tech
Right.
classes. I was in the middle of
Yeah.
taking a dual credit class to
Right.
get credit at NJIT. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't have no experience. I
Right.
just didn't have robotics experience.
Right. So it's a different experiences. Yeah.
So definitely one thing at outreach is that I get a lot of parents come to me and ask,
Right.
my kid loves the things you guys do here.
Yeah.
What is one thing you would say that he should do or she should do before high school to get into it, or maybe they're in high school? What is a piece of advice you'd give to either a parent or a child to get into robotics and get into STEM?
Yeah, and I do have an opinion, but I'd like to hear from you too. So do you have an answer to that question?
Sure. I mean, I think taking tech classes at middle school are very helpful. I
Yeah.
think joining a robotics team in middle school and elementary school is very helpful. And just learning about how things work. You could find YouTube
Right.
videos, you could take things apart yourself. Like,
Yeah.
I can really tell as someone who's now teaching robotics,
Yeah.
like when I'm trying to teach Ahana something, if
Right.
I'm trying to explain something to Ahana, she knows what she's talking
Right.
about. She knows how things work. Whereas some other freshmen, their first couple weeks, they don't really know
Yeah.
what they're talking about. So it's very clear. If you just know how the things around you work, that's very evident.
Right. And then Hana?
Yeah, I would say almost pretty much the same answer. I think as long as you have a passion for it it's just a great thing to get into, whether you join a team, whether
Right.
you take a toy car apart in your
Yeah.
basement, or you could just watch YouTube videos of other people doing it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure plenty of robotics teams, they also have media teams that post weekly YouTube videos, CAD tutorials, code tutorials, and it's just like, if you care about it,
Right.
you can just watch them do something
Yeah.
just to get immersed into robotics.
Right. Yeah, I'd say I think that's the biggest thing. I think being open-minded and being looking out for new opportunities. Like, again, this could just be, you know, being at home and being like, oh, this video looks cool, or something I saw one of my friends do sounded interesting. Let me go look at it, or let me go try it. Right? Like FLL. Right? Even if your parents aren't directing you towards that, it's definitely something that parents and kids should both be open-minded to. I think definitely being open-minded to new experiences, maybe trying a little bit of STEM out, even though you don't think you would like it, maybe just trying it out, right? That doesn't hurt. So I do think that is probably one of the biggest things. Do you have any differing opinion?
What I like to say to parents is kind of like similar to what you guys said. If they have the passion, follow it.
Right.
If they really like STEM and they really like robotics,
Yeah.
let them go for it. Whether it, as you guys said, doing something by yourself and teaching yourself, or going to, a lot of elementary schools, at least in our district, are starting to have STEM classes. Going to your science teacher, going to your STEM teacher, and saying, how can I
Yeah.
learn?
Yeah.
And I think that's the first step. I think first step is really figuring out what can you do, what can how can I start?
Yeah.
And I think once you get started, the ball really starts rolling, and eventually you end up in high school robotics.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think this has been a great conversation. I think the ultimate result is we all think FLL, all these opportunities are amazing, and we want people to try and get involved early. But obviously, it's never too late. So thank you guys for coming on today. This has been great. And that's the end of the episode. Thank you.